pages. It's time to type and write. It's time to get things started on the most booktational, inspirational Once Upon an Author show. Here's your host, Danielle M. Orsino. Yay!
The most powerful thing you can be is yourself. Captain Marvel, Carol Danvers. Danvers, I should say. Actually, I got to get that right, you know? Her name's a little off when you think about it, because you want to say Captain Marvel, and then it's Carol Danvers. I just like to call her Captain Marvel, but there's a whole thing with that with Shazam, and then DC and Marvel got into a whole fight about it, but that's a whole other story that we can tell another time. So welcome everybody here at another episode, the actual season 1 finale of Once Upon an Author. I'm your host, Danielle M. Morsino, and guys, you sent me a ton of questions. And you got a little personal on some of them, I'll be honest with you. So we are going to jump in and I'm going to try to get to everybody's questions today. And if I don't get to your question, I will try to write you back through DM or Facebook, however you ask them, and try to answer everybody. So we're going to just jump into it because, like I said, you guys got a little personal here. But the first one is from Tina. She got to me on Instagram. She says, Danielle, with exposing your experiences with former publishers, are you ever worried about backlash? That's a really good question. Am I worried? I can't say I went into this too worried about it, because if I went in worried, I may not have done this and I may have censored myself too much. So I didn't consciously go in thinking about, oh, there's going to be backlash. I knew people wouldn't be happy about what I was saying. I did consult my lawyers before I went in and did this, because I didn't want to get sued, obviously, and I didn't want to get myself in any more trouble. But I didn't go in thinking the publishing world was going to be upset necessarily. I just wanted to tell my story. I didn't think about will there or won't there be backlash, because I didn't want to censor myself. So I didn't think that far down the road, to be honest with you, Tina. But I appreciate the question, definitely. Bobby went personal on this one. I'll be honest with you guys at Facebook. Are your books profitable? No. I'll be very honest with you guys. I'm not making money yet. It takes a long time to make money from writing books. Why? Because there are different payment tiers with every retailer that you deal with. It depends if you're doing KU on Amazon, if you are doing ebooks versus paperback versus hardback. There's all different tiers when you get paid, and it also depends on how much you put into them. You know, a good editor is going to cost a certain amount of money. Do you do developmental editing, line editing? What are your cover costs? Advertising, all of this. It's going to be a while before you make the money back. And to be honest, on some of the books, you're only making, if you're lucky, $1 a book. So you have to figure that first, you've got to cover your costs, and then you can start making something back. So not yet. They're not profitable yet, but I'm working on it. And regardless if you're number one bestseller, I know people think that if you're a number one bestseller, you must be selling like 5,000 books. No, it depends on your niche. So for example, if I am YA adult, young adult alternative history, and I could be number one, that may mean that I only had to sell 50 books that day, you know, just depending on the algorithm. Versus if you're a number one bestseller in young adult epic fantasy, you may have to have sold 1,500. So it really just depends. But no, I'm not there yet. I'm working on it. But it also is getting your book out in front of the broadest audience. And you're fighting. You're fighting against the big three, HarperCollins, Penguin. They cut deals with Amazon so they can be in multiple categories, meaning that if I'm in young adult, I cannot be an adult. So I could be in young adult alternative history, young adult ancient civilization, but I can not go then into adult epic fantasy. All three niches have to be young adult. To where Sarah J. Maas and let's say Rebecca Yarros, who are the big guns right now, can do that. They can take one book and be in adult, young adult, middle grade if they want, because their publishers cut deals with Amazon. The little guys, we can't do that. Amazon will actually go and then come to you and change your niche and be like, no, we don't think it's in the right one. The algorithm says it's not. So we're going to take you out of it. And they will consistently do this. So you're always fighting. It's hard to make it profitable. I hate to pull the whole artist's life thing, but you're doing it for the love of it, hoping that you'll catch fire eventually. And you'll find that group of readers that kind of hug your books and hold on to them and then tell your friends. It really is word of mouth. Let's see. Dylan from Instagram. I bought Locked Out of Heaven and Thine Eyes of Mercy, and I loved the illustrations. Do you use AI, and what are your views on AI? Oh, Dylan, the can of worms you just opened, honey bunch. Okay, so let's get into this. I do add a lot of character illustrations, which I always wanted to in my books, but my former publishers were really against it. I draw all my illustrations first. I do use AI after that to polish them up because, to be honest with you, I can't get eyes symmetrical to save my life. I always have a wonky eye. I can't do it. And I do really good jaw lines, but symmetry is very hard for me. So I will go in, but every fire, flame you see, every elemental element in my things are me. Every single piece is me. I do every flame, every water drop, because my characters are all elemental magic users. Every piece is me. I draw all of that. I will go in and polish things with AI, but none of it is created by AI. That's all my work. So it's a little different. I don't go in AI and put a prompt like, give me this. And it just comes up and I'm like, done, cool. It's not like that. I will go in and hand paint all the backdrops that you see, all the pieces. Those are mine. I will get AI to help me out here and there with a finishing piece that I'm just not getting right, no matter how hard I've tried. So that's a little different, but I don't put in prompts like, give me a Monet. You know, I want one of my bishops to look like a Monet painting. I don't do that. So it's different. I have used artists. Like I said, all my dragons are done by Pandy Van. My dragons are all original artwork by Pandy Van. Pandy and I work very well together. We've worked together, as I've said, for years. I will tell her, I need an ice dragon. I need it to look like A, B, and C. We go back to our physiology of our ice dragons, and then she takes it and runs with it. And I trust her. So nothing AI on my dragons is done. But have I tried to work with artists before so I don't have to do it? So many times. And I have paid a lot of money. And what happens is the artists come back to me after they've done the work. It's not what I wanted. And I get very detailed, like, you know, this character has to have blue hair. They have to look like this. And I get something that's not what I wanted. And then I get the bill. And it's sometimes anywhere from $600 to $1,000 for the character design. It's not my character. And then I'm told, oh, you can't use it in a book because I didn't license it to you. Well, hold on. It's my character. It's not yours. It's mine. I told you how they would stand, what they would wear, the color, all of that. I have to pay a then licensing fee that's only good for a certain amount of time. I cannot make bookmarks out of it. I can't do anything on Instagram with it. Like, I can't even put it in a story and add music to it. That's how strict they'll get. So then what's the point? Or they just don't deliver. I've waited a year for a character that I was supposed to get in 30 days. And then I've had to have my money refunded or open up a conflict with, you know, PayPal, or I've had to go back to Amex. And I've just had people just ghost me. Or I had one guy, I asked for a comic book sketch of one of my characters, use it, give it to his friend and say his friend drew it. And they used it actually as their profile pic, and then had the nerve to ask me if I wanted a comic book drawing using my character as their profile pic, saying they drew it when it was his friend. And then his friend was like, oh, are you still mad about that? Am I still mad? Yeah. So when I hear authors are using AI for some of their character drawings, I don't get mad at them. I know the art community is really upset, but I'm kind of like, you're charging so much money. And I'm not saying your art isn't worth it, but you're charging some of these authors up to $1,000 and then saying you can't use it in a book, you can't use it for promotional reasons, and we want money from it. Ooh. As for AI with using it to write, yeah, I got a problem. especially when my work has been stolen and I'm part of a lawsuit regarding Meta. Yeah, I have a problem when someone is taking my book, pirating it, asking to do a review, then they're part of like a book tour, and then they take my work, load it up to LibGen, and then they're saying, write a book like Birth of the Fae by Danielle M. Orsino, and then selling it. Yeah, that I got a problem with. And some people could say it's hypocritical based on art, but once again, I can't go create a Monet and sell it to someone and be like, it's Monet. You know Monet's work. So it's a very fine line. But for me, I draw my stuff, or sometimes it's photographs that I've done in cosplay that then I've colored, and I've asked AI like help me out with the coloring, or I want it to look more like this. But it's always original work. It's not prompted work, if that makes sense. So I hope that clears it up for you a little bit, Dylan. Brianna asks, why do I do this? I mean, telling the whole story thing. Why not write a book and put it in there? Why do this medium? Brianna, that came from Instagram. I could put it in a book, but to be honest, I don't want to write about myself. I like writing about other characters. I'd rather tell this story so people can kind of listen to it. Some people are just better listeners. They don't want to necessarily read. And I think telling these types of stories comes across better in a voice, and hearing it this way or watching it. I think you lose something in the genuflection and in the context if you read it. That's just my opinion. Let's see. This is Sam from Instagram. Your experiences seem extreme. Is this how it is in the publishing world? Sam, I'd like to tell you my experience is extreme, but I am one of 1,000 stories. This story of mine is not that extreme, unfortunately. There's a lot of other authors who are in my position. I'm just giving voice to it. After doing this now for about 6 months, I can tell you I've had authors contact me and say, that happened to me. That exact thing happened to me. My friend screwed me over. Yep, this happened. My publisher did this. This story is not as unique as you think it is in the publishing world right now, unfortunately. And it's still going on because of self-publishing, which I'm not saying is a bad thing. Heck, I'm doing it now. But it gave access to more people to be able to screw people and scam people. That's all. So there are a lot more of us. They're just not giving voice to it as much as you think, and it's not covered as much. There was an incident, I believe there was a publishing house in Colorado, and they were doing romance ebooks, I think it was. And they found out that it wasn't the CEO, but somebody in like the C-suite had scammed, I think, $1.4 million off the top from all the authors. So it's not as unique, unfortunately, as you think. This is happening to a lot of different people. Let's see. James from Instagram, he's got a two-part question. Is there anything you regret saying so far in this season? Is there anything you wish you had said? Is there anything I regret? No, I can't say there is. Maybe there's things I wish I'd said a little differently, because sometimes I should probably take a breath before I speak. And as much as I write notes, when I'm recalling what happened, I kind of get lost in the moment and I remember how I felt then. And so my emotions probably get the best of me. And maybe I could explain things a little bit better. But I don't regret anything I've said because it's my experience and it's what happened. It's the truth. So I'd rather not regret anything, because maybe it made somebody out there who's in a similar position to make them stop for a second and say, maybe I should get a lawyer to look at this, or maybe I should take a step back. Do I really need to go down this road? Or maybe they fought a little harder for their work. So I can't say I regret anything. Is there anything I wish I had said? I'm not 100% sure. I'd really have to go back and think about it. Maybe there's more people I'd like to thank, because for as difficult as this has been, and believe me, it has not been a bowl of cherries. There are people who supported me, Cleat, people like that, who I think don't get the credit. As much as I can say they're wonderful, they're so much more than that. And my husband has just been so wonderful. And he doesn't like the accolades, but he really has been. As much as he rolls his eyes at me the minute I say, I got an idea. And he looks at me and he goes, let me sit down. He has been great. And it's very weird to give credit to puppies, but my puppies have been a source of inspiration, and they've been really good in a weird way. It's hard to say like your dogs deserve credit, but they've kept me grounded in times when I'm getting a bad review and then I look at Carlos with his tongue hanging out of his mouth and he's looking at me like he's not judging me, and he loves the books, and you're kind of like, okay, it's worth it because I'm doing this to give them a better, bigger backyard. You kind of remember why you're doing this. So I can't say there's anything I wish I said. I just wish I could be I could describe how grateful I am for some of the people in my life. Let's see. Have you ever heard from your friend after everything that happened with book one, Donna, from Facebook? No, I've never heard back from her ever again. Now she's blocked on a lot of things, but I've never heard anything. Let's see. This is from Mark from Facebook. I read Fire, Ice, Acid, and Heart, both versions. I really like the second one better with the dragons talking. If you were to cast the voices of the dragons today for animation, who would they be? That's a good question. When I wrote the dragons, I always thought of them as rock stars. I don't know why, but I think dragons are the rock stars of the fantasy world. So when I wrote them, I always thought of Dee Snider, the guys from Metallica. Like I always thought of rock guys, Rolling Stones, like that. I always thought Dee Snider for some reason would be Dragor. Patty Smythe would be Raycor. I just thought of rock stars and they would voice my dragons. So Dee Snider, if you're listening, I got a job for you. But that's what I always thought. If I was to do like an audio drama tomorrow, I would ask rock stars, retired guys to do the voices of all my dragons, guys and gals. That's what I would do. Because to me, dragons are it. They're the rock stars of the world. Following up, do you see Birth of the Fae as a movie, series, or animation, and why? Georgie from Facebook. I always saw Volume 1 as an animated series. I never saw it as live action. For some reason, I always saw this Castlevania-style animated series on Netflix, something that could be violent, bloody, with a dark sense of humor, because that's the series. The series does have these dark senses of humor things, and that's always how I saw it was animated. I never saw live action, probably because it is so violent. That's always where I saw it. Michael from Instagram, why did you not do the graphic novel first? Good question, Michael, and I have some updates on that. I let it go. I just did not trust myself, to be 100% honest. I had people on the hook that really wanted it, but I went the traditional route by writing out the novel. I just chickened out. I couldn't find an artist at the time. I thought it was just going to be too difficult. I didn't know the graphic novel world as much as I knew comic books and things like that. I didn't know the industry enough. And everybody kept saying, well, you got to get an artist. You got to get an artist. I didn't know how to go about doing that. And so I just went the safe route, which was the novel. And that's what I did. But now I have an artist. I have some mentors and things like that. So I'm moving forward. And really what pushed me was Jim Steranko. When I met him and he read the back of Locked Out of Heaven, and he just looked at me and he said, what are you doing with this? And I was kind of like, what do you mean? And I told him I was going to originally be a graphic novel. And he just grabbed my hand, looked me dead in the eye, and very calmly said, trust yourself. And it was that moment that I realized I had to go back and do the graphic novel. And that's what I'm working on now, which leads into Steranko. Why is Steranko such an influence? He's an artist, not a writer. He's actually a writer. And do you know about his political views, right? Figures Karen from Instagram. Yes, I do know about Steranko's political views. Just because him and I may not see eye to eye doesn't mean I can't respect the heck out of the man as an artist, as a writer, and as a creative. We don't have to see eye to eye on everything. But he has been, hands down, besides my husband, probably one of the more driving forces behind me, besides Stephanie Williams. He believes in me like nobody else. with the exception of maybe Zabo, he has never wavered in his support for me, not once. He checks in with me more than anybody else, and he's right behind me. He will not yes me to death at all. He will tell me when I'm wrong. But that man has been kind to me, sweet, caring as a person. So as a talent, he's an immense talent. He's wonderful. But it's Jim Steranko, the person, who has touched my heart so much and has given me that extra boost when I've needed it, that I could start crying right now because he's been so good to me. So his political beliefs are his. I don't really care. I can agree, disagree, whatever it is. But as a person, that man is 100% gold and has been that way since the day we met. And I swear, kindred spirit. I love him to death. So I really don't care. I just look at him as a person and as a man. He's been nothing but kind to me. Stephanie Williams, same thing. Wonderful people. So can't say. Don't care. How have authors treated you since starting the show? Monica from Facebook. Mixed bag, to be honest. I get some people who are like, oh, this is great. I'm learning so much. And I get other people who are like, keep it in the back. Like nobody needs to see the curtain, what's behind it. So it's kind of a mixed bag. What is the best thing a reader can say to you after reading your book? Brian from Facebook. That's a really good question. What can they say? I just like to know that they've been transported and they've forgotten about the real world for a little while and they can see pieces of themselves in the fae. That's probably the best thing, just that you liked it. How do you start writing a new book? Do you go in order like chapter one? Amy from Facebook. Heck no, honey. I just start writing and see what happens. Like I said, I'm by the seat of my pants. Have you ever worked with an outline, Al? Nope. Probably never will. I'm just better off writing. Will you release footage of your fight scene, like on stuff? Will you release? Let me see. Will you release footage of your fight scene stuff like on social media? Okay, Kevin. Now I got you, Kevin, on Facebook. I might. There's a lot of bloopers. I might. We'll have to see. That's not stuff I've been asked for. I might do it. I have to think about that a little bit. How much did it cost to get out from under your publisher, Jake? Cost me a lot of money, Jake. Lots of money. And we'll get into that in season 2 because I got all the bills I'm going to show you. Is there a reason you don't write about myasthenia gravis in your books? Don't you think it would help with awareness, Christine? I don't want to, I'm not there yet. I'm still so early in my journey and my books are fiction. I don't want to make it magical and make a magical cure or anything like that. I don't want to diminish it. Not saying I won't at some point, but it'll probably be nonfiction when I do. I'm just starting out as an author and keep hearing about my author platform and newsletters. Is this really important? Scott from Instagram. Unfortunately, Scott, it is. I learned too late about the author newsletter, but yes, it is important. There's ways to do it. I would contact On the Page. I've spoken about them, Christy. She's really good, but you do need help with that. It is important because it helps build up your readers. There's a whole thing to it. I'm not the person to talk to about it. You need to get help with it. But yes, there's services out there. On the Page is really, really good, but it is important. You got to have the right website. You have to have the right social media presence. You don't have to know all the social medias. Just pick one and be present on that, but it will help you connect. What's the biggest mistake you've made in this journey? Colin. Colin, have you been listening to this show? I've made so many, I can't even get to just one. I've made so many. Not trusting myself. That would be the biggest thing. You mentioned in last week's episode you were diagnosed with MG while book 6 was coming out. Do you tie the two together? Is that why you wanted a do-over of sorts when you left your publisher, Candace? Yeah, probably. I do hook the two of them together. Book 6, Forgive Us, and Myasthenia kind of came at the same time. And it was nice to get a do-over. So I do have to kind of separate them, but it is hard because they were both new beginnings and endings in my life. So that book does, tug at a certain string. I'll be very honest with you. So I'm working on that a little bit. And maybe that's why I'm rushing. I can't wait to get volume 2 out to kind of close that chapter and move forward a little bit. It's just one of those things. I'm working on it though. We're coming to the end, so I want to kind of get a couple housekeeping things out of the way. So one, I will be back for season 2, where we will discuss the legal issues, how I got out from under my publisher, getting into volume 2, and a bunch of different other things. I want to thank WWDB for their support, Sam, Laura, and I want to thank my chosen producer, Tyler, who's been absolutely wonderful, keeping me sane throughout all this and dealing with my craziness, because I am a handful, as you can probably have learned throughout this process. So I want to thank
Always
everybody.
happy to help.
You're the best, Tyler. You guys have been wonderful. So thank you for giving me this opportunity, everybody, for listening. So that's first and foremost. You can always catch me on Instagram and let me know what's going on at daniellemorsinoauthor. If this has all intrigued you to read the books are available on Instagram through my LinkedIn. You can kind of go through there. You can get through it through Flowcode and see them all on Amazon. I have new stuff coming out, including a book addict tarot card subscription where you'll get these cool tarot cards and crystals that go with the book. And it's a really cool thing. So you should probably just keep an eye, sign up for my newsletter. And that could all be done through Instagram. You could always go to my website at daniellemorsino.com. So that's the housekeeping stuff I want to get out of the way. But before I leave you, I want you guys to just take these little nuggets of advice to kind of hold you over until season 2. The first one for my writers out there. At the end of the day, this is your story. It's your life. Know your worth. Know how you want to tell it. No one else holds the pen but you. You are your own strongest character, and you're just telling the story. So make sure that you guard it. No one can rewrite it. No one can rewrite your words unless you give them permission. So make sure you know what you're doing and know who you're giving permission to. For my self-reflectors out there, after everything you've been through, do you recognize the hero in your own story? Is it you? And if not, what's stopping you from really moving forward? All right, guys, that's it. Season 1 is done. I will see you next time for season 2. Check me out on Instagram to get all the deets on when it's premiering, when it's coming out. Keep up with me there. DM Orsino, author, and check out for my newsletter. Keep in touch. I'll see you guys next time. Keep writing.